Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
So when I was working on Selena, the series for Netflix, to play the role of Abraham Quintanilla, I put on a specific amount of weight, which I was fine doing, but also realizing it could be difficult to get that weight off. I got back into my physical regimen with James Leha, but I was still having trouble with just those last amounts. And that's when I got to meet Arturo from Laredo Medical Weight Loss Clinic. And just the products that he gave me kind of put me over the edge. I feel great about myself.
Back at you, Gloves Off, and today I have a great guest, one that comes here to the schools very much with us, and he's now the Webb County Republican Chair-elect, Jose Salazar. How are we doing?
Great to
Congratulations on your win.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I have a lot of people to thank. There was people who supported me, voted for me, walked for me, called, texted, stood out there in the hot sun, cold weather sometimes, windy weather. All those people, I really am humbled, and I thank them for their support, for their help.
Absolutely. You know, there's a lot of things, a lot of people don't know that in any election, any campaign, there's a lot of factors that go into it, and a lot of people don't know that. And it's very hard when people write their name on the dotted line, because sometimes you might end up running against somebody that you know.
Yes.
Like in this case, you ended up running against Mr. Joe Brennan, who's an excellent man.
Yes.
I like Mr. Brennan. I like Joe, and a great deal. And but you know, like any race, somebody has to win.
Yes.
And here there were only two, so of course you won.
Yes.
Right? Why did you run?
I ran because I looked at the numbers, Paul, and I saw that there were 26,000 people who voted for Trump in 2020. But somehow that does not transfer to the Republican Party. Why do so many people go out and support somebody in the Republican Party, yet don't participate in the Republican Party? And I think the party has fantastic ideas. I think if you look at what we're going through now, people can tell the difference from when Trump was in office to where now we have Democrat policies in place. And so we have great ideas, and the Republican Party is a place where we can participate and to promote those ideas. But for some reason, we cannot get those people in there. So I wanted to throw my head in the ring and say, give me a shot. I want to try to bring those people in.
Okay. You're saying that the reason that you're talking about Webb County.
I'm talking about Webb, correct.
Okay. That there was a lot more people that voted for Trump than that are in the Republican side. Well, that's very simple. Mm-hmm. What happens is most elections, especially like right now the primaries, you saw the numbers are very high.
Yes.
You see the numbers towards Republicans. I mean, it was like about in early vote it was 19,000 more or less. It was 18 something. Correct. I'm just gonna round it off to 19,000 to 2,000. So it's about a 10% vote. 10%.
Correct.
So you got the Democrats are literally in the generals. They're beating Republicans by a lot.
Yeah, in the primaries.
In the primaries, not the generals. Excuse me.
Correct.
And the reason I say that, and I have a theory behind that, most of the people that vote, and if you add up and you tally the people that vote, they either work for LISD, UISD, Webb County, or the city of Laredo. And in some of those areas, if you don't vote, and you don't vote on the Democrat side, because they check your name on the list, they'll tell you, hey, you didn't vote. They might blackball you. They must ghost you around in the office. They might give you bad hours. It happens.
Yes.
I mean, we've had some tyrannical individuals in office before. A lot of those department heads in some of these areas continue with those things. I mean, it happens. People say, no, it doesn't. It does happen. We have a lot of under the table, back dealing, a lot of, wannabe mob guys or underworld captains, whatever they want to call themselves. They act that way with people. And they act that way towards small business. I say that because I'm a small business owner. I've been for a long time. I've seen what they've done to restaurants. That they pull a sign in front, all of a sudden the food inspector's there, the fire inspector shows up, they start harassing you. That happens. So a lot of these employees that work for these municipalities, because UISD has a lot more employees under their skin than it does in the city.
Yes.
It's a big place. And what happens is, if you don't go vote on the Democrat side, because here's everybody's Democrat, right?
Yes.
And it'll change eventually. But and to go in there, this is my theory. It might be wrong, might sound crazy, but there's 20 years of watching the same ordeal. 20 years plus watching the same thing over and over, election over election, doing the same thing.
Yes.
You get calls from people that, before I used to have a sign like I do right now here and in other properties that we had. And a cousin of mine, an uncle of mine, that I didn't say hi, that I hadn't seen him since I was like 10 years old, 11 years old. I saw him one time at a party. Calls me up and he tells me that your cousin is being harassed because he worked for one of the constables and because I have a sign. I go, I've never even met that cousin. Didn't even know you existed. And now you're telling me that his job's on the line because if I see that guy, I saw him afterward.
Yes.
Never knew who he was. Okay? And then they call you and tell you, hey, he's like, if we always hang out to each other, have a beer after, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that exists. That happens.
Yes.
And then you see a big change in the general in November. All of a sudden, all the Republicans from the state and federal win.
Yes.
And the numbers are the same.
Yes.
You're like, what happened? Or where are they? I think that's my theory. That hypothesis has not been proven, but it's there.
And I do talk to people who are in that situation who say, well, I need to vote in a certain way. I talk to those people. I also talk to people who tell me, well, you don't run enough candidates, so I'm not gonna. For local politics, I'm gonna vote. In the Democrat primary. I hear people who say, well, it's more fun to vote in the Democrat primary. You have so many choices, and I get to vote for all these people, and then I get to vote for the candidate that is not that good, for president that is not that good, for senator, and so he can go up against the Republican. And I don't think they make the impact that they think that they do. But what I do see, because I used to be one of those who used to vote that way. I was happy to hear that in this race, in people who called me, who voted for me, told me, for you, I'm going to vote for the first time Republican. Because I don't like what is going on in the country right now. I don't like these policies that they look at the immigration, the cost of living, and the fentanyl crisis that we have in our country, and they tell me, I'm going to vote Republican for that and for you. So there are some first-time Republican voters also. Now, where does that put us right now? Well, we know that this is a very, very important election. If we don't win this particular time and we don't get President Trump, or he's probably going to be the likely winner, or and a lot of good people in office, then we're not going to be able to save the country. We're going to have a brand new population. I think somebody said that the number of people coming in by the time that Biden leaves office is going to be bigger than I don't know how many states. The population. It's going to shift. We're going to shift.
We're already shifting. I mean, you see it here in the employment. Yes. I'm not mocking anybody down, because when immigration, anybody can immigrate legally to the United States.
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Go through the legal channels, and guess what happens? You have people now, where before you used to go to the restaurants, you used to see a lot of. You can tell that maybe they're residents, maybe they're not residents, maybe they're there, but they're working on this side, maybe they have a work visa. And you used to see a lot of waitresses that were Mexicanas. Now you see them Venezolanas.
Honduras.
Salvador. I saw
I ran into that.
And now Honduras.
And that's fine.
And it's fine, it's legal, but and I'm not saying anything wrong, but people need to work, right?
Yes.
But I think, let me put it to you this way, and I'm going to be straight down the middle. we're in some rough times.
Yes, we are.
Okay? And we see all these military age men coming here. Very healthy guys, man. Very healthy.
Yes.
They're very healthy guys coming in, video after video, escaping from tyranny, escaping from bad dictatorship.
Yes.
But they didn't have the balls to stand up for their country, and then they're going to come over here. Well, if that shit happens here, I'm not walking anywhere. I'm going to stand up and defend this country. Okay, and I'm 56 years old, and believe me, I'm going to stand up and defend this country. I'm not going to go anywhere else to go get refuge. They're going to see a different, and that's what's going to happen here. The fight is in their hands. The fight is already in front of us. Unfortunately, people do not see that because here they live in a bubble. Here in Laredo, they live in a bubble. They didn't know what racism was until some of them went to the military or went off to college. And they still they don't understand what racism is here, or discrimination. They don't understand it.
And
Go up north a little bit.
And you hit on something that I was going to say. I guess great minds think alike, right? I was thinking, that because some people tell me I'm also going to vote Democrat. I'm afraid. Some people have, because I called a lot of people. I spoke to a lot of people. Some of them are telling me, well, I want to right now lay low. I don't want any harm to come to me because I don't want somebody to pick up that I'm a Trump supporter, I'm a Republican or whatever because my account. But you know what, Paul? How did this country get started? If it wasn't for brave men who risked their mansions, their wealth.
The Minutemen and of course the Tejanos that fought here against the tyrannical government of Santana. That was an end of war of independence.
Risked their lives, their livelihoods, their fortunes. And because they knew that if they were caught by the British, they were going to be hung.
Well, of course.
They knew that.
Yeah.
And yet they risked it. So it's because of people like that we have the country that we have. Were they radical? Were they afraid? Of course they were afraid. But they were not going to get canceled on social media back then. They were not going to have their reach turned down by Twitter or whatever. No, they were going to lose their lives. And they took a stand. And when you say, I will take a stand, is the message I want to give to all Republicans. You need to take a stand, if not for yourself, for your children and your grandchildren.
I'm going to tell you the different scenario. I took a different stand. I walked in there after they found last year about those police officers that did that voter fraud. Walked in there and I told them to remove my name from the voting list. Because every election there's voter fraud, this guy, and they're all Democrats, and they're all blaming each other for voter fraud and corruption, and they're all the same ones blaming each other. I said, if these guys are going to be out there fixing our elections and nothing is done, get my name out of the damn thing. Because we saw 81 million people from I don't know where they came out here and voted for the most popular president in the history of the United States who's sitting up there, doesn't even know what up is up and down is down. I'm sorry, poor man. I mean, that is elderly abuse.
Yes.
And by that time, I want to be, sitting down in a swing if I'm in that demented stage, or not at all. But what happens is they talk about voter fraud.
Yes.
Republicans alike, and nothing is done. There's people here that won by mail-in ballots. Okay?
Yeah.
When you have a percentage of mail-in ballots, you have, say, 500 mail-in ballots, and you win and 460 of them, 450 of them, 470 of them, 480 of them are for your name, there's something wrong there. The odds aren't there. Nobody checks that.
No,
and nobody does anything about it. And I'm talking about the Republicans here in Texas because they're not doing anything about it.
And one of the good things that happened, Paul, with reminding people vote in the primary. There was another thing that didn't come out a lot, didn't get a lot of air, but there were three judges. I think it was the Texas Criminal Court of Appeals, I believe. Three judges who were conservative, who are letter of the law type of people, who will give back, hopefully, the power to Ken Paxton, the Attorney General, to investigate election fraud instead of leaving it to the DA of the county. The DA of the county of our county doesn't have a big incentive to.
He's a good guy. I know him personally. I've known him since I was a kid. He means well, but the problem that we have is why are you going to prosecute something that's not going to be taken forward? And I think the election frauds, I think the Attorney General can step in on any case, criminal case here, any case.
They removed the power of Ken Paxton to do that, and they gave it back to the DAs. So there is not an incentive right now to investigate those 51 people who were involved in the election fraud. We don't know to what degree. We don't know exactly, but somebody's going to notice 21 people living in a home, 18 people living in a home, the 12 people living
And
in
how
a
many,
home.
look, they got caught this one time. Imagine how many times they've been doing it.
That we don't know of.
How many elections is that going? I mean, it's the same thing. I mean,
Yes.
we need a lot of reform in the United States.
Yeah.
We need police reform. We need educational reform. We need election reform. We need all kinds of reform to make this go better. And the problem is that we have a society that people can convey and they can agree or disagree and they can agree to disagree. But then you have the extremes that it's either my way or the highway, and they're the only ones that are there, and it's going to be this way or not, and everybody's catering to these very small percentage.
Yes.
That's dangerous. It's a very small percentage that we're catering to. But let's go back to what you went. Now that you're in office, I've helped out. I knew Randy Blair for a very long time. I knew Jean Belmonte's great guy. I knew Fernando Cantu, who's there. But they haven't won anything. I mean, worse. Yeah, I keep telling this. I make a joke, and I make a joke with all of them, and we're all good friends. But the only guys that you ever win in Webb County are the Webb County Republican chair. It's the only one you win. I go, how do you think you can change that? How do you think we can? And it's not throwing candidates out there, because you throw a candidate out there and lose again. We've been throwing candidates left and right. How many have we lost? I mean, we're about 24 straight losses, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we win the state in general. Yeah, because that's the other counties that are helping us.
Yes.
I'm talking about Webb County.
But we need to look at, there's a number of things that we can do. One of them is to have a better recruitment of candidates. And I know that sometimes people will just not step up, but we need to look for candidates that can do that. We need to look, we're working right now with some fundraising, and we can connect people, we're trying to connect people to fundraisers. So if somebody wants to run, and to connect them to some fundraising, hopefully they also have their own money that they're willing to put up for a race. We're trying to also run them in places that they have a chance to win. If they do not have a chance to win, it'll be a little bit more difficult. Anybody who wants to run can run for whatever they want.
Listen,
but those are some places that
you hit the nail in the head with that one. I mean, we've been putting up people that never held a business, were in and out of jobs, odd jobs here and there, and they were running for U.S. Senate, U.S. Congress, intergalactical senator, and solar system vice president, and all kinds of huge titles. We don't have the machine in Webb County to sustain that.
Yeah.
What do I mean by the machine? School boards, the Republicans don't have. They don't have no constables, not one. They have no JPs. They have no district judges or county judges. They don't have the DA. They don't have the county attorney, and they don't have the sheriff. So how can they expect to put somebody in there? Because all those guys have to do is, remember when we helped you, we gave you money for this over here? And everybody moves the whole machine moves this way. I would say make a mass candidate shootout for every school board member that's running right now, and boom, place somebody in, and everybody help get those into every single board member every single board member that's running, whether it's UISD or LISD, should have a Republican candidate and start from there. Because a lot of people say grassroots, knocking on doors. I put the sprinklers on, man. Seriously. Why do I say that? It's on a Sunday at 5 o'clock. You're having a beer, you're having a sundowner, you're cooking, and then talk. No, I don't want to hear you. Things have changed, but I know what grassroots is. We have to plant the seeds, and the seeds, I guess, it's teaching the teachers and everybody. We're with you. We're behind you. We're doing this, and start.
We do need to reach out, and we need to and we do need to reach out to people. We need to, and because people ask me, well, how can you change this in the system? How can you change that? We cannot change the system until you start becoming part of the system. And we're going to look. We're going to do it little by little. If somebody wants to run for whatever they want to run, that's fine. We're going to look at some of the areas that we probably have a better chance of winning. Those are the ones that we want to encourage people to run for. And I think that we do, and I'm not saying that I've done a great job all along, in the past, but we do need to see how we can use the people that we have. Granted, if we only have 7 precinct chairs, we can only start hitting those seven precincts that we have. So obviously, we're going to need to, in order for the party to help these candidates, we have to build a bigger party. That's number one step. Number one, we need to have a bigger party. We need to have more involvement from people. We need to have the numbers that at one time that we had and started dwindling down. We need to have those numbers back because they are there. You know, it's not like, you know, sometimes people tell me this and it appears that it to them that it is because they look at, like you say, they look at the system. They look at who's in charge and they say Laredo is 95% Democrat and 5% Republican. It looks like that. It appears like that, but
like
that's
98%
only because there's no participation in the Webb County Republican Party as it should be. We should get some of those numbers coming in to help. Once we start from there, getting the party to become more a little bit bigger, increase the size of the party. We also don't have the experience that a lot of these Democrats have. If you look at some of their precinct chairs,
And you know,
they're
it's-
former politicians. We don't have that in ours because we haven't won
Let
the
me put it
races
to you
yet.
this way. I learned martial arts. I learned how to fight. I was looking because I wanted to become a better fighter. I went to the person that can actually kick ass in that town. The best of this, I'm gonna go train with that guy.
Yes.
I'm not gonna go train with a guy that I can beat the shit out of. I'm learning. I want to
Yes.
go learn at the guy that I can understand what I'm
Yes.
saying. That guy, I want to learn understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
And what's happening here with the Republican Party, they want to fight world championship bouts and they haven't even won one smoker. They cannot even do a sparring match. And that's what's happening with them. And they might say no. And besides the grifters, because you have grifters on both sides. Besides the grifters that are inside the party right now that they go up to one candidate and I'm going to help you out. And all of a sudden they milk them for money. Then they jump to the other candidate. I'm going to milk you out. And they do this and do more damage than good.
Yeah, no, I've seen that.
I mean, and that you know, you have to tell the candidates coming out to be careful with those grifters that are, because they're there, and we have to help them out. I mean, I'm a conservative. My opinion and my First Amendment right and my protest, my standing up on my soapbox was I'm not going to vote. Take my name off the list. Don't bug me with this shit. But that doesn't mean I can't help people to go in there. Understand?
Yeah.
So I don't mind helping people to go in. I don't trust the system. I lost faith in it.
Yes.
A couple of elections back, and and they proved it to me this time. Okay. I thought we might have gotten something when we elected the 45, but after everything happened, the elections that were in between, and then it was worse and worse and worse. And you're like,
And you cannot
so
you cannot have a country that will will peacefully transfer from one group to another if you have no faith in the elections.
I have no faith in the elections.
We become like third world nation.
I have no. Well, we're
We're there.
We're there. We're not. You know what I'm saying? I don't have faith in the election system whatsoever. I think they're going to swindle it out of him, and I'm talking about the President Trump. They'll swindle it out of him one way or another. They're going to try their damnedest to do that for him.
Yes.
They're going to try to do it, both Republican and Democrats that are up there, the establishment. I think we heavily have to go in there and change term limits. You only got one term limit. If you can't do that, then give somebody else a shot. You suck. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
If you're a city councilman here, and you do not know that street needs a sidewalk, that street needs a fire hydrant. You know what? We have no fire station in this area. Let's start building one. We need more police in this area. Let's start pushing. If you cannot do that, you suck.
And
That's it. Get somebody else that's going to come in here and do that.
And
We shouldn't have another one in 4 more years, to understand 4 more years for what?
Yes.
They go in there with nothing and they come out with ranches. I mean, or you know what I'm saying? You're like, chinga parale.
And there's got to be also some awareness of what is going, and the people need to vote in an informed way. The key is not, and I disagree with those people who say No, it's just get a bunch of people to vote. I mean, look at the people who are getting, some states that are mailing ballots
I
to
think maybe
everybody.
I understand.
That's insane. You're just going for numbers and claiming success. If the people become involved, if the people make wise decisions and expect their politicians to make wise decisions, then you win. You got something to you be proud of. But if you're just mailing it to everybody, you're not requiring an ID and extending.
That's what I'm saying.
That is insane. That is insane.
I mean, in some countries you're forced. It's an obligation that you do your tax. Brazil is one of them. Mexico, you require an ID to vote. Here you don't.
Every same country does
But
it.
you know, France, you're required an
Every
ID
same
to vote.
state does it.
You know, but all of a sudden here you don't. You know, it's. I think number one, what needs to happen is term limits on everybody, federal all the way down. Period.
I would like
It's a
to see
federal
limits.
term limit.
President has
Not
term
two,
limits.
one.
But I like two.
You know
but-
what I'm saying? No, I mean, because we got two here. Look at city council. Okay.
Yes. And
Look at the city council. Imagine two with the people that we have.
if we
That's
look,
it.
if we look at Congress, I mean, some people have been there for 30, 40 years. Some people now are, you know, I mean, we had a couple of people already die, and you know, what was it, Dianne Feinstein? I don't know how old she was. She'll be told how to vote, and
I mean, it's ridiculous.
that is ridiculous. I would just like to see two term limits. If you're in for 2 years, then maybe 3 or 4
No, if
limit.
you're,
And that,
if
for
you're
me,
in it
that's
for
it.
2 years,
Yes.
you get now it's 4 years out for that. Don't give a shit. Out one term, boom.
Should be.
It's
There should be term limits.
now let's put very much
Whatever
so.
there might be, whatever
One.
people decide on, but there should be term limits.
One, give somebody else a shot.
Because it's not
But-
fair.
Again, we go into and I might be harsh on it, but no, I mean it's to the point now that it's ridiculous when you start seeing some of these people that are going there. One's what's your qualifications? What are you qualified for? When you did what? Okay, you're going to be doing negotiations.
Yes.
You couldn't negotiate with your kid to throw out the trash, and now you want to be negotiating police contracts.
Yeah.
Understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you're going to tell me that that's business? No, it's not. You know what I'm saying? And
And to me-
we need businessmen. We saw what a businessman could do, and he did a damn good job as president.
Yes.
We need businessmen in Congress. We can't have hey boys. We can't have somebody else say, oh yeah, me too. I'm the favorite one. I'm the token Mexican or token African American. Let me vote for you. No. Why? You understand what I'm saying? Enough of this crap. We need people that can do. If you have success in business, and you've been successful in business, I'm going to pay more attention to you because I know what it is to run a business and how to make it go up. And I've gone down and gone back up, and
Yes.
and how to maintain it to where it's fruitful for it moving forward. And I've seen people that have out of nothing become millionaires. I'm going to be listening to them to see what they're doing and what I can learn, and all the time learn. And I'm gonna put more expectations on somebody that's doing that than somebody that has never done it. Especially when you're talking about negotiation and business contracts and everything else. We have to look at all that in there. You know, we have, I've already seen, and unfortunately, we're not gonna fix the world. We have to get people there. You're in a big place right now that you can get things moving. You have to call all those conservatives in there, and you have to reach across the aisle. You can't have this hate, because I've seen it from both sides.
Yes.
We hate the Republicans, and the Republicans, oh, we hate the Democrats, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You have to reach across the aisle to the conservatives on the Democrat side and say, hey man, come on over with us. Help us out.
You said something really that I have always favored, and that I forgot who I was talking to, and I told that person, I said, you know what, when people, we can't just go around criticizing Democrats. I said, the Democrat voter is waking up. They may not have, I mean, at one point I voted Democrat, and that's the point, that if you go to the people in the Republican Party, half of them used to be Democrats. Every year I get somebody else who says, I used to be a Democrat. Now I'm a Republican. Just about all my friends who are very, very conservative were Democrats. So there's nothing wrong with saying, well, I was a Democrat, now I want to be a Republican, or at least I want to vote for some of your candidates. There's nothing wrong with that. Because that's where we got our Republicans.
We should have the right. We should not be segregated that you can only vote on the Republican side. Oh, you can only vote on the Democrat side. You should have the right to pick who the hell I want. You know what? I like his views and he's on this side of the spectrum. And I like his views and he's on this side of the spectrum. I can vote for whoever it is. We cannot be segregated. And we've been segregated from, you go there, I'm going to vote. And then all of a sudden you can only vote for one guy on the Republican side. And you go over here and just like you vote for 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 guys on the Democrat side. Make the elections. Anybody can vote any which way they can. And I know that there's some this and back, but I should have the right to vote for whoever the hell I want to vote for.
Yeah, we need to.
You know what I'm saying?
I've looked at it.
And we cannot have that segregation, the discrimination. That you're being discriminated upon. The employees here in Webb County, in all the municipalities, are being discriminated upon because they cannot vote for the Republican guy. They can only vote here, or else they're going to get blackballed and so on and so forth. And then you see that huge number of Republicans, federal and the state, in the general elections come up, and everybody, wow, when did all those guys come up? Because they were already there already. They just can't vote anywhere else. They've been discriminated upon.
And there's a flip side to that we do need to look at. That a lot of these open primaries or jungle primaries, whatever they call them, they were supposed to promote two things. They were supposed to promote a moderate candidate. I don't know who thought that it should be a moderate. Somebody took that stance that it should be a moderate. I don't know why, but that it would promote a moderate candidate and that it would increase voter participation. So far, the research shows that none of that has happened. And if we look at California has a jungle primary.
You can see the jungle that they made.
And there's nothing moderate about California. So we do need to be careful because you could end up with, there could be some places that will end up with, like.
And then you see California.
Republicans, and then another one with just Democrats.
You see California. California, they say that, Californians are moving to Texas or Florida. And then they want to turn Texas and Florida into California. Just the same as the guys from the Middle East, everywhere else, they want to move over here, and then they want to turn every country, just like the Middle East, the country that they were running away from. It's the most stupidest thing I've ever seen. Either you have an agenda or not. And when you go someplace and you want to change it to the place you're coming from, then that's an agenda. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Yes. So and that's what I see. I don't
that's
mind
where
people
vetting comes in.
And you can't. It's hard.
I mean, if you
how can you vet somebody over there who says I'm going to move here?
If you're
a citizen
if you're opening the and just cutting the razor wires, they come on in. But you can't bet anybody. They're already in. You're telling them.
You can't bet anybody now.
No, that's what they have right now. What would be good is the system that we have that is slow. It takes a long time. I've talked to people, they express frustration. I think they express frustration not only because it's slow, but because they see how easy it is to do it illegally. And you get rewarded for doing it illegally. That's the problem with that there is no chance of even vetting. Can you vet people 100%? Well, no. But if you just tear the razor wire and just open the gate and let all these young men come in, you're not vetting anybody. Nobody's being vetted.
Yeah, well, it's a different scene. Mm-hmm. I wish you the best. Yeah,
Thank you,
you have a lot of thing in there. You're gonna have to really work with.
Yeah, people. We have a lot of work to do.
And try to stay away from the grifters and stay away from everybody else and get everybody in the straight thing, because I've seen a lot of that. Only because I'm not gonna vote. The name.
Yes.
Oh, I'm a Democrat. Oh, I'm a Republican. Doesn't make me any better. Mm-hmm. I'm an American. Mm-hmm. And in the flag we have a red, white, and blue, so they're both in there. And I'm kind of like the white color inside the flag. I really go. Well, go anywhere I want. I'm gonna shake hands with whoever I feel like shaking hands with. I'm gonna make friends with whoever I feel like making friends with. I'm a free man, born of sound mind and members. And guess what? I can do whatever the hell I want. I'm here in America,
This is the
and
US.
that's the way it is.
It's the US,
as long as it's legally done,
Yeah.
and we can go forward. So you have a large work ahead of you. We're here with whatever you want. We'll support what done right, and I think the guys here at the school supported you.
Yeah.
And they did. They went out. I mean, they were because you're one of the guys that comes in here.
Yes.
And I look up to people that could put on their gloves and come out here and kick and punch and want to learn.
And they were
everything.
friends at the end.
And that's the way it becomes a little brotherhood. That's a fellowship
Yes.
that's there, and people help each other, and it's a beautiful fellowship.
Yes.
And that's what we need. And we have to bring that and spread that into the community more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad you're there. So, with this, anything else?
No, just thank you so much. For giving me the time,
Anytime,
to talk, and of course, your school is a great school. It's going to be a pleasure coming back, and to be punched in the face by some of the most wonderful guys you'll ever meet.
Folks, let me put it to you this way. Don't make this, in the last couple of elections, we've lost family because we've lost friends. We've lost members that we cared about because of our opinions. If you lose them because of an opinion, they were never your friends to begin with. Remember that. And you should be able to have good discourse, good conversations with everybody. And people shouldn't matter who or what you vote for or what you express. You understand? We live in a great country and we have to keep it that way. But elections do have consequences, so remember that. Until next time, you all stay safe, be safe, and God bless you.
One of the reasons I joined Putron Academy here and enrolled my son is the legitimacy of the school.
No tenemos palabras maravillosas, sinceramente no tenemos ninguna palabra negativa, estamos totalmente agradecidos. Lo único que yo podría decir como madre es que se animen completamente a venir a traer a sus hijos aquí a la academia. Totalmente, es una experiencia muy bonita.
Overall, the academy is I've had a great experience with it. And I would encourage anyone who would want to become a better version of themselves to join.